Shine Wild Ones, it's Bernadette. I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Thursday, February 11th, 2021. And first time ever, you've got a double spirit animal day. This is crazy. I've never had it happen before. It's fun. And who knew? I never even thought to ask the animal allies to do this, but it came into my consciousness this morning while I was meditating on the card. And I'm going to ask them to do it again. It's super cool. So let's just say you want to carry that enthusiasm right into this card because it's the devil card inverted, which is the shark. And, you know, people always grimace when they get the devil or the tower. And I'm like, oh my God, it'll be okay. And, you know, listen, I understand circumstances in people's lives are very serious and very, you know, very meaningful to them and serious to them. I get it. You know, they're not every day am I, you know, Bernadette, although I like to be, and that's my intrinsic nature. That's how I was born. But you know, I'm a Scorpio, triple Scorpio. When I get down in the dumps, I'm like, you know, I'm just ready to die. The world is over. There's no point. There's no reason to go on. I really am like that. But you know, hey, you bounce back and you do what you need to do, and that's that. So why I go into that about me, because it's not about me, it's about you all, is that really is the whole point of the shark being the devil card, and then of course the snake being the tower card in the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck, which is of course what I read from my own deck. And you know, if you just take a very quick look at the traditional meanings of the Rider-Waite tarot card, what you'll find is, just like with the tower, it really is all about, you know, going through the issues with tissues and drama llama and that kind of thing, so that when you get to the other side, you experience this great spiritual awakening. And when the devil card is inverted, you've got some, I think, just a really amazing opportunity to, you know, taking a look at the card itself, the traditional Rider-Waite card. What you'll find is that they can take off their chains. The two people that are standing there in chains, they can take off those chains anytime they wanted to. So when it's inverted, what that means is it's a call for you to go through a liberation and set yourself free. That just plays into everything that, you know, that I evangelize, that I preach. You know, every benediction is about that. It's just, you're taking a look around you and you're like, well, clearly this is, even if I was unhappy, even if I was miserable, this is clearly the place I've been comfortable and afraid to make changes and afraid to face whatever those fears are. And that, I don't resonate with that anymore. I just don't. You know, whatever it was that had its power over you, or you thought had power over you, you're done with it. You see past it. You see through it. And the reason that I say this is a double spirit animal day is because, you know, listen, sharks are among the most feared animals on this planet, and not really justifiably so, says the person who's had an unnatural fear of sharks ever since she was a kid. And I finally think all of these years later that, you know, and I've never really particularly cottoned to snakes. I have held one. You know, there's the big yellow python that I held at Mystic Jungle right when we were filming the video for the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck Kickstarter. And it was a hugely surprising experience for me, because I really expected to be skeeved out, not really be able to communicate with that animal. I had all these preconceived notions in my head, right? I've avoided snakes at every cost, every turn. But that snake changed my viewpoint of snakes. Oh yes. Now, you know, listen, snakes, spiders, you know, scorpions, sharks, you know, there are things that will kill you dead, not just D-E-A-D dead, but dead, D-E-D dead. And that's true, but so can a pit bull or a chihuahua in the right circumstances. So it's not, this reading today is purely about setting yourself free from the truths that you've been thinking, you've been telling yourself, the story you've been telling yourself, the thing, but but there's no real truth in it. It's an illusion. Now, there might be some element of the truth in there. Okay, that's a caution. We get cautions every day. Before I cross the street, you better bet I'm looking left and right. I don't care if it's giving me the walk signal. I'm not trusting some college kid, especially in Gainesville, Florida, is not going to come flying through that, intersection and, knock me out of my shoes. I'm not trusting that. And so one of the biggest things, the reason that it's a double spirit animal day is, dig this. What's the most dangerous animal in the whole world? What animal kills more people around the globe than any other animal ever? Can you answer that? I couldn't until this morning when I'm meditating and I was like, well, you're supposed to go see, like, people are afraid to get in the water with sharks. They're, they really associate sharks because they're apex predators. They're such efficient hunters. They equate sharks with death, hence why it's the devil card. And all of the things that we can become addicted to in our life that chain us, that keep us, holding us prisoner, that's a fear. That's one of those fears, right? So, and fear is all about the devil card because fear is what holds us hostage. Okay, so I thought, well, all right, I'll go look that up. It's the mosquito, y'all. The mosquito is the deadliest animal in the world just by pure virtue of volume. A mosquito kills more people around the world every year than, I don't know. I don't even know how many years it would take to add up actual not shark attacks, but sharks actually killing people. How many years of accumulated numbers you have to put together to even equal 1 year of the waste that a mosquito lays to this world in terms of taking life away. Well, what that proved to me, and the reason Spirit told me to make this a double spirit animal day, was it's such the perfect illustration of how our fears can look humongous and scary, like a great white, because they are humongous and scary. But really, the danger is this big. Now, that's not for everything. It's not. I'm a true crime show person. I love them. And, people can perpetuate things on others that I just can't. I can't figure out how that stuff shows up in their sick little mind. I just can't. But I'm not talking about that kind of extreme. Although I might be, because it just depends on what circumstance you're in and what can help you get out of it or come out of that circumstance on the other side. Case in point. I happened to talk to a person the other day I hadn't talked to in, I don't even know, years. And come to find out, this person had experienced some stuff that movies are made of in a relationship that they had. Stuff you couldn't believe, that you think is embellished when you watch that movie of the week or you watch that, feature film. You're like, stuff like that doesn't really happen in people's lives. Yes, it does. Where do you think they get the movie stuff from? And it happened in this particular person's life. So that came to my mind this morning because, in a way, this person was living the devil card. And the other person was the devil, and they were the person with the chain wrapped around them, but didn't seek to leave until they woke up and were able to face things for what they were and get through all of their fears, get through all of their big things that they built up in their head, and they exited stage right. So consequently, that person suffers PTSD. I know exactly what that's like to have gone through a circumstance like that. And I understand exactly what it's like to have PTSD. Yes, I do. I understand what it's like to work through it. Yes, I do. And I'm so proud of this person, just so very proud, because too many people go through things like that for way too long, and they could come to see those things as mosquito-sized and truly dangerous, like that will take you out, or what they've made up in their mind, which is great white shark-sized, which can also take you out, but actually takes you out a gajillion times less than that baby mosquito. That leads me to your psychic eye. And on this particular Thursday, you're just really being called to pay attention to that psychic eye of yours, because it's the best defense system that you have. And You know when things aren't right. You know when you're not telling yourself the truth. You know when you're not facing fears, because there's that little thing that clicks inside of your solar plexus chakra. And there's that little thing that just it just doesn't sit right with you. But we ignore the signs for everything, for personal relationships to work relationships to everything. We ignore the signs. We keep going on, and we keep getting more bound and more shackled and more held down and more oppressed and more whatever. And we could get out of it at any time. Now, I'm not saying it won't take effort, and I'm not saying it won't be difficult. Of course it will. In some circumstances, those changes can happen. You can set yourself free in the blink of an eye. You cannot get et by a shark, and you cannot get, whatever disease a mosquito is going to carry you by preventing against all kinds of things. You don't go to Vermont during mosquito season, or Alaska, where I understand the mosquitoes are like the size of bats. You wear protection, even in Florida. I mean, I've got a protected wetland behind me, and during the rainy season, there's a big old creek that goes, a little stream that goes. Well, it's not, it's little. I mean, it's only maybe at its deepest, maybe 6 feet, but wide, it's not all that. But let me tell you something, it can produce mosquitoes like nobody's business. The university has to come in once a week, and they release these little, they're like baby piranhas. They eat the eggs off the surface, and then they will also jump and catch the mosquito. It's crazy. It's fascinating. What I know about mosquitoes, one human being that doesn't work with insects or work for should not know. But those guys are always willing when they come in all their gear. I see them, they're yellow. They'll sit there and talk to me and explain the whole process. It's very fascinating. And they take good care of me so that I don't have that many mosquitoes. Else I would not be able to go outside my house, which is what that story was leading to. If there weren't a way to control those mosquitoes organically, I would not be in for, spraying junk back there that's going to harm everything in its path, just for my own comfort. Well, and the safety of everybody in the neighborhood, because mosquitoes carry disease. But they can take care of it organically. And when I say my house, your vessel is your house. Like when you have dreams and you dream of other people, my friends that are like super expert at dream analysis and dream interpretation, they tell me that anytime you see another person, it's you. It's a projection of you, even if it's somebody you know. And that's not always true. It can be a visitation from someone who's passed over. It can be all kinds of things, but mostly it's you. So you are your own house. You are holding yourself hostage, or allowing yourself to be held hostage, and having to stay inside, having to stay in your own house, afraid to come out, like I would be if those mosquitoes weren't under control. But when I do, and I know they're under control, I put natural eucalyptus stuff all over me, and I work in the yard and, try to pretend like, women all my age in Florida, they're gardeners, and I try. I'd rather be writing something or making a video or reading a book, but I do love gardening, and I do love the natural outdoors, and I do love any time animals skitter across me, of course. But that's the message for today. Whatever is holding you back, please see it as a mosquito and not a great white shark. That said, seeing it as a mosquito absolutely necessitates that you do more protection and more looking out than you would. Really, there's only one circumstance you're going to get et by a great white shark, and that's if you plop yourself right in the middle of, where they hang out. And even then, there are precautions you can take. You don't wear bathing suits or wetsuits that are, make you lots of different colors, or you're going to look like a tropical fish to them, right? Or you're going to look like this to them, that to them. There are all kinds of things you can do not to get attacked and not to get eaten by a great white shark. And again, you've got to work really hard to actually get eaten by one, right? You've got to deliberately put yourself in circumstances that you ought not to be in. That said, it's much harder, the little things that you might have missed, the little things that you may not have seen with your psychic eye or allowed yourself to feel or whatever. That's much harder to free yourself from. I mean, I know there are lots of times I go out in my backyard and all of a sudden I'll look down, I'll go, well, that's not good. There's a swarm of, mosquitoes buzzing around my feet. And I'm like, dang, I forgot to put my stuff on. And I'll go back in the house and I'll put it on. I'll come out and they'll, circle about 2 feet from me and never come near me. But even in Florida, if I went to Publix, my enduring love of and adventures at Publix, I probably am not going to put anything on, knowing that it's Florida and behind that Publix is a big old giant, forest or whatever it is back there. And there are all kinds of critters swarming around back there. I could get bit by a mosquito at Publix, not nearly as much as I could in my backyard, but there's every real possibility. So your psychic eye, please, I'm just, a double spirit animal day I've never had before, and that means the animals really want to get to you. And so I'm going to leave you with that, and I hope that's helpful. And you know what? I hope you make it your business to set yourself free from whatever has got you chained back, because being in chains, that's not cool. That's not sexy, and that's not for you anymore. No more. I disallow it. That's it. I don't I don't allow it. You are not allowed to be held back or held hostage by anything, anyone, including yourself, anymore. So today is the day to stop that. And today is the day to pick up your copy of the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where we have found a new way of being and doing and just relationship with the animals, where we can have a double spirit animal day. So, as always, stay wild.